Hey guys, welcome to another one of our interviews in our series Startup Without Burnout. And my guest today, I actually met and kidnapped him as well as one of our other interviewees at Entrepalooza, and I just sort of made him be my friend. So when entrepreneurs and leaders need results, they turn to Shawn Shewchuk, and Shawn delivers. So he is committed to studying, understanding, and helping others achieve more in less time. And Shawn Shewchuk is the authority on results. So when it comes to structure, confidence, and knowing what it takes to raise capital, he's kind of the go-to for answers. He's well known as the best-selling author, his 500 plus media appearances, publisher, and as a star in the movie, The 1 Minute Success System, along Brian Tracy. But his focus is really on delivering results. And very simply, Shawn's primary focus is to positively impact as many individuals and organizations as possible through coaching, publishing, his best-selling book, and his appearance in the movie. So thank you for coming and for being a part of this.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Of course. I love helping everybody, and I love you, and I love everything you stand for. And guys, if you get a chance to work with Shawn, he just has the best vibe ever. He's like super outgoing. He wants to help everybody. I think he actually could though. Like, you know how sometimes I say that, you can't help everybody and not everybody is your client. I think it's different for him. So he probably could. But Shawn, I'm going to get right into the questions.
Please.
I really just kind of want to know how you realized that you were destined to be an entrepreneur in the first place.
I was 13 years old, and this will really date me. I had my parents write a check for some classified ad for a book. Said they could help, entrepreneurs or business people. Excuse me.
Don't die.
I'll try my best. And they ordered the book. Book came in the mail. I read it through 3 or 4 times and put it away. I mean, I grew up rural. I was a farm kid. We're going to consult the cattle down the lane. Like it just, that doesn't happen. Finished high school, moved to a larger city, and started knocking on doors. And so for 25 years, I have been working with small businesses. I had a couple jobs. I went back to school a couple times, got some wallpaper. And but I was determined when I first moved that I would never be an entrepreneur. I hated the idea of being an entrepreneur. I grew up in a home where my dad was an entrepreneur, a workaholic. And I got a job and then soon realized that I was highly unemployable. I didn't want to work for somebody.
I got that. I was highly unemployable. That's awesome. So how did the path really start? I mean, you said that you were knocking on doors and you got wallpaper, which I'm assuming means a bunch of letters after your name. But how did you sort of take the highly unemployable realization and turn that into a path that became a business owner? Because you don't just have one, you've got multiple businesses. I don't even know how you do it because I know you don't run them all, but
Well, I run them, but at a high level. I'm very blessed to have an amazing team, which I think is key in business if you want to scale it and grow. So I've started, run, operated, and profited from 43 companies, most of which have been highly successful. There's a couple of phenomenal face plants along the way with some road rash to go along with it. For me, it's about really just getting in there and making it happen. The how, I don't know how in my world doesn't exist. I'm not advocating anyone go practice law or medicine without a license. What I am saying, though, is that it's not necessary to have this certificate on the wall that says I can do X. In some scenarios, like law and medicine, maybe it's a really good idea. But majority of entrepreneurial endeavors don't include the traditional idea of professions. So if you have an idea, if you have something that is monetizable, if that's a word, something that people want, need, and are willing to get off their wallets, or for lack of a better way to put it, go do it. Stop waiting for someone. My next book coming out is called Initiative. And the original title, the way it kind of came down was the difference between waiting for orders and taking initiative. Most people are waiting for someone to do something for them or for it to fall from heaven and land on their lap. And if you're sitting there with a sofa seatbelt on, good luck.
That's awesome. So how long did it take you, not to be too nosy, but how long did it take you to hit your first 6 figures?
To do which, sorry?
To hit your first 6 figures. Because I know a lot of entrepreneurs are looking like, man, it's never going to happen. But with 40
6? I thought you were going to ask me about 7.
Well, let's baby step it. If you want to go with 7, 8, you know.
So I tell the story in my first book. I went through a really rough period of time. I was in my early 20s. I blew past $100,000. I had 20 or 23 rental properties. I was married. I had an amazing job, and thought I had life by the tail. I thought I had, you know, the American dream, I guess. And in about 90 days, that came to a screeching halt. I remember driving through the city I live in, and it's very vivid, the memory, driving past the Greyhound bus depot and having this epiphany, this aha moment that I didn't have a home to go to. I didn't have a job. I didn't have any money to go rent an apartment. I had a car that was owned by General Motors, and I had a few changes of clothes sitting on the back seat. And it was in that moment where I went, oh my goodness, I have to make a shift and a change. I didn't know how, I didn't know what. Called a friend of mine, borrowed a little bit of money, got an apartment, and went and got a job. And a gentleman said something to me. I was doing some contract work for him, and he flew from the East Coast to, I'm on the western side of the continent. He said, Shawn, he says, what's wrong with you? And I said, nothing. There's nothing wrong. He said, no, something's wrong. And he said, I want to share something with you. He said, if you live in the past, your past will become your future. I'm like, what do you know about me? Go away, get lost. And about a year later, it was like someone took a baseball bat and cracked me upside the head, because it all came back to me what he'd said, and he was right. And I was having a little pity party. And, you know, once I realized that, made a shift and a change, somebody very close to me at the time, I said, well, I'm going to go build a new home. They're like, you know, you went through the, you know, financially, you're tough here. And I built a new home. I went from making about $16,000 a year to $100,000 in a year. And then I decided that wasn't enough. And so the following year I went from about 100 to $1 million. So if you really look at it, that's a $900,000 increase inside of 12 months. So when people say, I can't, I don't know how, it's impossible, I call it great big huge BS.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, but I do need to revisit the original question. Aren't you Canadian? When you started living the American dream, I was like, oh, you borrowed. That's nice. That's good.
Well, I could say the Canadian dream, but I'll be very honest with you. I do an immense amount of work in the United States. Yeah. I'm head office in Canada, but I'm down, as you know, I'm down in the U.S. a fair bit, and I have a ton of amazing people that I'm very privileged to work with. So, you know, the longest unprotected, almost invisible border really doesn't do much, I don't think.
Fair enough. All right. So what do you feel, because you have made these giant strides, and we're talking quantum leaps. We're not talking baby steps to the next phase, which I think a lot of people misunderstand the fact that, yes, you need to grind your teeth, you need to cut them, you need to learn the right way to do things, but that doesn't mean you need to move slowly ahead. So what do you feel is the best action step that our viewers who are thinking about either starting a business or growing their business, what could they do?
I was at a presentation this morning. I think it was really interesting. The gentleman stepped on stage. He's well known for creating businesses. You know, some of the most popular comedy shows in North America, he's the innovator behind them. And I'll be interviewing him on my radio show coming up very quickly. But one of the things he did, he got up on stage and said, you have to disrupt. And people went, yeah, I've heard disrupt before. And he grabbed the Mac laptop sitting on the table on the stage and threw it on the floor and broke it into a few pieces. He had everybody's attention instantaneously. And so the one thing that I work with people on a lot is, what are you going to do differently? How are you going to disrupt? There's a ton of white noise. Everybody says, I'm the best. This is what branding is a big part of this too, and you know that as well as I do. It is, how are you going to differentiate yourself? How are you going to be different? How are you going to cut through the white noise? How are you going to disrupt the norm? If you're in business and you have something that people need, want, and are willing to pay for, you need to be able to convey the message in a way that is going to, and I always say this, people say, Shawn, you're harsh and brash, and sometimes I am. You have to slap them in the face. You have to say, wake that, you know what, up, because this is different than all the other garbage you've been hearing and probably will hear. And it's not about what I can do for you in any way, shape, or form, because there's a ton of guys out there that say they're the best. So I will never say I'm the best. But what I will say is, what are the results you want to achieve? Let's go get them. And I'll do it with you. So it becomes a partnership, a collaboration, rather than, and that's coaching in my world. Not everybody sees it that way. So if you're in business, if you want to be in business, if you have an amazing business idea, innovate, disrupt the norm, get someone to work with, like Alex.
Oh, that was a good plug. I like it. Anyway, I didn't even pay him for that. So the most,
The bill's in the mail.
oh, damn it. All right. So the most successful people have some sort of a daily routine and or a ritual. Everybody that I've been interviewing has been able to give some sort of their routine. And some of them say, oh my God, I'm awful at it. And some of them say, health food. And some of them have been saying, fitness and mindset. You not only own these businesses, but you're also a coach. So I want to know what your ritual is, because you're coming from a whole different side.
It's the C word, crazy. It's a whole lot of crazy. I almost killed myself back in 2007. The doctors thought I had cancer, because I was the guy to go to work at 7, 8, 9 in the morning, and I'd come home the following morning at 2 or 3 or some crazy hour. And I mean, there were times where my assistant would come in the office and I'd be sleeping on my keyboard on my desk. And not necessarily something to be proud of, but the idea behind it is, for me, is people laugh at me sometimes. I need my 7 or 8 hours sleep. That's just how it is. I have not been sick, cold, flu, in probably 5 years.
Oh, wow.
And I work hard. And I have a kid. So for those of you that have a young kid like yourself, the kid goes to school and the kid comes home and brings something interesting home. My son has been sick for a couple of days, nothing, just a cold or whatever. And I, knock on wood, but I rarely, if ever, get that. I'm very conscious of what goes on. Am I perfect? No. When I travel, like I met you 3 weeks ago or whatever it was, when I travel, is my schedule on where it should be? No. Do I eat how I want to eat? No. So, am I perfect? No. Routine. If I'm home, almost without fail, I'm either running. Do I try and eat right? Yeah, I'll say try, because it doesn't always happen. For me, it's a few things. Running and the activity becomes my form of meditation. How I get engaged with who I am. I'm not the person that's going to sit cross-legged on the floor and do the whole, that's not me. So meditation for me is that it's me getting aligned. It's me getting in there. Brain feed for me is huge. Okay. Whether it's reading, whether it's watching something, my treadmill is set up in my bonus room in my house with a 50-inch television in front of me. So I mean, I'll put something on and run for half an hour or an hour or whatever. And I don't mean like a TV show or CNN. I'm talking about something that's educating me. So for me, and it's not just once in a while. I mean, there are times where if I'm driving somewhere, and if I'm not on the phone with somebody, and I'm not, doing business or talking to a client or coaching or something, I'm listening to an audiobook or to whatever it is. Because at the end of the day, as you well know, and I think you and I talked about this a little while ago, if we, as those leaders who are helping others grow and become better in what it is they do, if we're not staying abreast of the changes, if we're not on top of where we need to be and constantly learning and educating ourselves, we become irrelevant very quickly.
Yes. Understood on that. Absolutely. All right. So got it. All right. So we got that your running is really centering. You've got your kind of going with the whole wanting to eat properly, and you travel a lot. So you kind of have a routine, yeah. All right. But you don't take it so seriously that you're married to it, which. No.
I mean, I also don't spend a whole lot of time in those restaurants where all they serve is deep fried food.
Right.
I don't go and smoke a pack a day. I don't smoke at all. I mean, I like a good glass of wine. I think you might know that already.
Yeah.
But the idea, I think it was meant to have fun. I think life is a gift that we should enjoy. I think life is about spending time with amazing, crazy people like yourself. That's for me, that's what it's about. Like, think about something, when two people or more connect, how fast a powerful relationship can happen. I think for me, that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, all right. So from somebody that has been face down on their laptop at 2 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock in the morning, and you've done the whole burning out, falling on your face, failing triumphantly, and, just being out there and putting yourself out there, what's the one thing that would prevent burnout from somebody starting a business?
Everything you do needs to be productive. I didn't understand that. I also didn't understand that I had probably one of the most severe cases of entrepreneur syndrome. If I don't do it myself, it's not done right. I'm going to hold it close and don't ever try and take it away from me. And even if I hired someone and I taught them and I coached them, get out of the way because, hey, I can do it faster anyways, go. That's probably the biggest thing if you want to grow your business. You can't scale your business by yourself.
No, you can't. Absolutely. And that's something that I tell people all the time. Delegate.
I'll add to that, Alex. Think about this for a second. Scaling means you, as the entrepreneur, those of you who are watching this, listening to this, get the opportunity, if you do it the right way, to take a step back and be able to do some of the things you want to do. Those things that are a priority to you, spending time with family, with your children, with your wife, your husband, traveling, whatever those things are for you, it's about freedom. And in my world, freedom's defined in 3 ways: the ability to do what you want, when you want, with who you want.
I love that. I love that. Oh, all right. So then if you could tell our viewers one thing to do to grow their business. So we know what to do not to burn out, right? We know what your routines are, but what do you do to actually grow the business?
It all depends what kind of business or what vertical or what industry or profession you're in, but most people are not proactive when it comes to getting out there. In order to grow your business, you need to be able to market it. And even if you tell me your business is based purely on referrals, I'll probably call you on it, because if you're doing business by default rather than design, it's a sure way to fail. It may not happen today, it may not happen tomorrow, but it inevitably will happen. You need to have at minimum a 3-pronged marketing approach in place. And every business is going to be slightly different. If you are not marketing, if you don't know who your target audience is, if you are spread all over the place, you have a million and one things, I can do all things for everybody, you're wrong. So the smaller your niche or niche, the smaller your market or larger your market. If
saying that.
Why?
No, I have that conversation with people all the time.
Oh yeah.
When somebody says, "Oh, my service is good for everybody," I'm like, "Okay, let's dial it down. What's his or her name? How old are they? What is their buying power? Where are they in the organization?" Like, get it down as granular as possible, and then make it perfect for them, and the other guys will get attracted to you anyways.
So for all your viewers, geez, what do you need me on here for?
Because you're amazing.
You're awesome. So think about this. It's smaller niche, larger market, a smaller niche, depending on US or Canada. The other side of the coin is really get clear on what it is you offer. Most people say, well, I'm a coach. That's amazing. Or I'm a VIT, whatever your business is. And that really means nothing. Because at the end of the day, there's a ton of coaches who have no clue or concept, and most coaches are going broke. And the average coach today is out of business inside of 12 months because they're trying to be all things to everybody. And guess what? Not going to happen.
Yeah.
Clarity, focus, execution.
I like it. Well, so my last little nugget, because I've taken up a lot of your time, and I really, 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 really appreciate it, because I know that you're crazy busy and you're heading out to Portugal tomorrow and actually taking some time, even though you're working. We're going to have a conversation about that. But later tonight, I'm actually going to be sending out a link with an awesome gift that you're giving to our viewers. Can you just sort of tell them a little bit about what you're going to be offering them to opt in for?
Well, yeah, you know what? You don't have to opt in. But I will say this, if you do, it'll be well worth your time. I'm going to give you a copy of 2 things. I'm the best-selling author of a book called Change Your Mind, Change Your Results. But what I've asked one of my team members to put up an ebook. It's a very small, short read. It's easy to read, but it really gives you some insights into how you can become not just an achiever, but a high achiever, how you can become way more productive in your day-to-day activities. We've heard for years and years that we should manage our time. Let's be very clear. You can't manage time. You get all there is. This thing doesn't stop. But you can manage the activities in the time you're given. Yeah. Right? So get really clear. What are those productive activities? And if you're engaged in anything that's non-productive, stop doing it, please. Go get that ebook when it comes. Read it. And if we can serve and support you in any way, there's a million ways. Go on Facebook, Twitter, changeyourresults.com. Happy to do anything we can to serve and support.
Awesome. So they can find you at changeyourresults.com. What is Twitter handle, Facebook handle?
At Shawn Shewchuk, and Shawn Shewchuk, I think it's .author on Facebook.
Cool. So they can find you.
Oh yeah, if you punch me in, there's in Google, there's I don't know, probably 400 of the first are all me.
I love it. Well, Shawn, thank you so much again for doing this for me. Again, I'm constantly humbled by the caliber of interviewers or interviewees that I've been having on here. So
Always a pleasure. Thank you. It's been an honor.
all right. Bye.
See ya.